What happened to my dad should have never happened to any human being, regardless of the circumstance. We hope that in the future, nothing like this happens again.
No matter how many times you watch it, and it has been watched tens of millions of times.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. There you go. Hey, you busted his lip.
Oh my God! Look at what you did to him!
The video of Dr. David Dao being dragged screaming from United Airlines flight 3411 is still shocking.
This is horrible.
How did the solution to an overbooked aeroplane violently unravel into an object lesson in how not to handle a customer relations situation?
Hey, come on.
And how did one of the world's biggest airline companies deal so poorly with the international fallout?
Kill me. Just kill me. Kill me. Just kill me.
As pictures of Dr. Dao, who lost 2 teeth, had his nose broken and concussion, popped up on screens across the world, United Airlines boss was composing an internal memo blaming the doctor for being disruptive and belligerent, neatly transforming a public relations disaster into a crisis management shambles. A lose-lose situation for which, belatedly, Oscar Munoz apologised on ABC News.
As I think about our business and our people, the first thing I think is important to say is to apologize to Dr. Dao, his family, the passengers on that flight, our customers, our employees. My initial reaction to the process was to get facts and circumstances, and my words failed.
But if Mr. Munez thought his contrition was the end of his problems, he was wrong. As images of David Dao, the family man, spread, his lawyers started pouring salt into United's already gaping corporate wound.
He said that he left Vietnam in 1975 when Saigon fell. And he was on a boat. And he said he was terrified. He said that being dragged down the aisle was more horrifying and harrowing than what he experienced in leaving Vietnam. Should this forceful, violent, my word, exercise of police power have been allowed once it was viewed and seen by the flight crew to continue? No, shouldn't have. So, were these 3 officers, these stormtroopers for a moment, doing the right thing? No, not at all. This was not a troubled passenger. This was not a nut job. This was not a threat to anybody. Should he have been unceremoniously dragged out of that plane the way he was? He's a 69-year-old man. Is that really the way we want to treat the aged?
Dr. Dao's daughter says the whole thing is horrifying.
What happened to my dad should have never happened to any human being, regardless of the circumstance. We were horrified and shocked and sickened to learn what had happened to him and to see what had happened to him.
United makes a big deal of its customer service and shared values. Its website has chapters headed, "We Fly Friendly," with the sidebar, "Warm and welcoming is who we are." Dr. Dao might beg to differ.
Over the past year, we've been on an incredible journey.
And a quick spool through one of the company's promo videos in the context of what happened on Flight 3411 is toe-curlingly wide of the mark.
I call it the new spirit of United.
When we talk about the spirit of United, it's about how we face challenges head-on. We want every one of the 150 million people we fly every year to feel our commitment.
We're more than an airline. We're United.
According to America's Bureau of Transportation Statistics, United Airlines overbooked and denied boarding to more than 66,000 seats on its planes last year. Of those, 62,895 people voluntarily gave up their seats. Another 3,765 did not. But overall, on the US's 12 biggest domestic airlines, more than 475,000 seats were overbooked, and passengers consequently denied boarding. More than 40,000 of those belonged to people who didn't volunteer to get off. The violent eviction of David Dao sparked a storm of protest on social media, and satirists had a field day.
United didn't even admit they did anything wrong. In fact, if anything, they seem to be doubling down on this.
We're United Airlines. You do what we say, when we say, and there won't be a problem. Capiche?
Legendary PR man Lord Tim Bell says the United debacle could hardly have been handled worse, given the company prides itself on its friendly credentials and was far too slow to apologise. Damage that Lord Bell believes will ultimately cost the United boss his job.
You have to accept that if something goes wrong, everybody will know about it. And the first thing you've got to do is apologise and say, it shouldn't have gone wrong, I shouldn't have done it, I'm covered in remorse, I'm very sorry. Reputation is made up of what you do, what you say about yourself. Now, United Airlines is perfect. They had a television commercial that said it was the friendly skies, which killed them. They did something terrible, and just about every single thing that could go wrong went wrong.
You know you're in trouble when the White House weighs in.
Clearly watching another human being drag down an aisle, watching, blood come from their face after hitting an armrest and whatever. I don't think there's a circumstance that you can sit back and say this probably could have been handled a little bit better when you're talking about another human being. But I don't think that it is my place to get in the middle of judging how a company dealt with this.
But let's not forget how all this started. United had overbooked the flight and needed 4 passengers to get off so staff could take their seats. Despite being offered $400 and then $800 compensation, no one volunteered, and Dr. Dao's name was among those picked at random to leave. But he resisted.
They were just saying, you have to give up your seat, and he said, this isn't right, I have to work tomorrow, I'm a doctor, I've been traveling a long way, I came from LA, I have to go home.
Everybody on the plane must be thinking, where are we?
Paul Charles was communications director for Sir Richard Branson at Virgin Atlantic. Few people know more about air travel and PR.
I think there's no airline in the world that will now drag a passenger off for the same reason. There may be other reasons why a passenger is asked to leave the aircraft, if they're drunk or they shouldn't be in that seat. But I don't think you'll find this ever happening again. This is a watershed for the industry. The CEO has almost been brought down at United and may yet be brought down. You've got an airline whose shares have suffered, whose shareholders are embarrassed, and whose reputation in the industry has taken certainly a temporary knock. It remains to be seen whether it's a long-term knock to their reputation. But the whole industry is aghast at what's happened, and I don't think you'll ever see it again.
It's unlikely to be a happy Easter for United's executives, for whom the friendly skies are growing increasingly dark and menacing. Meanwhile, Dr. Dao is contemplating reconstructive surgery for his battered face.
Go home. I have to go home.
David Bowden, Sky News.